Well, hello everyone. We have right here, I'm talking about the story about Jaycee Dugard right here. And I put together right here an example right here of like a little design right here to represent for the young Dugard, sweetheart right here. But I was also thinking too that I will go ahead and use the title right here, talking about understanding about your first time. It's like, I think the title that I'll go ahead and put right here is, my first time, my first time, and everybody might say that, yeah, it could, could it possibly, be that, my first, my first time ordering the book, or maybe if it's my first time reading or something like that. But still, that, everybody might even say too that yeah, that whenever it comes to understanding about your first time, right here, but still, that I would like to know too that people might even say that whenever it comes to your first time, yeah, my first time. So yeah, so if you want to maybe start out the chapter, with something like that, to where that you say something like, yeah, your first time. It's your first time, your first experience doing this. A lot of times, and everybody might say, yeah, maybe if it's experience with maybe your first time at the movie theater, first time flying, first time riding, or something like that. But still, it you begin to learn toward it. Whenever it comes to whenever we read a story about something. But still, that whenever I was looking at the book right here, I was just thinking too that if I really want to talk about the fact about my first time with yeah, whenever you order something and your first time using a credit card, like, yeah, if it's a credit card, having an account where you're able to learn how to use the coupons and stuff, you were able to buy books that way. But still, but I see this right here of talking about the young sweetheart right here for Jaycee Duker right here, and that you see this right here of talking about whenever it comes to understanding right here. But understanding about the fact about whenever it comes to understanding about you got right here is at the foundation right here. But still, whenever I was reading through the book, I was also thinking too is toward it, yeah, that really that have we really understood about the fact about whenever you talk about your first time doing like, yeah, your first time looking for something, your first time shopping for something or something like that. But still, that talking about looking younger right here, and everybody might say that, yeah, that places where you go that you might think is toward it, yeah, that looking younger. When we talk about looking younger, that you're thinking is toward it, yeah, that you go ahead and places where you go that they say that, yeah, you look a little bit younger than than what you actually look. And so really that people might say that, yeah, if it's supposed to be like a yeah, any source of compliment of any kind. But still that whenever we do talk about that, but the first thing that I would think about is yeah, my first time of ordering online, maybe my first time buying a coffee, my first time having something delivered or something like that, or my first time reading right here. But still, that whenever I was reading through the book, I was also thinking too, is toward it, yeah, that if I could, maybe talk about the book a little bit, I would maybe say is toward it, yeah, my first time, filling out the application or something like that. First time, ordering something, maybe first time receiving something, having something delivered or something like that. And people might say that, yeah, well, for your convenience, how was your experience with all that, right there. And I'm about ready to tell everybody that really that whenever you first go to the store and look for something at the store, and let's just say if you're shopping for groceries, a lot of times what I usually see is that yeah, are you able to find everything that you came there for? Like if you were looking for something in particular, or if there was something that you were thinking about earlier, or something that you've been looking for a very long time that you were able to find it. And so everybody might say that, yeah, if you're going to be shopping anywhere in the inventory or so, but still, that we talk about the first time right here. And people might say that, yeah, that talk about for young Jaycee Dugard right here, to talk about looking young. And so I have right here that I was thinking that, if you want to go ahead and use that as an example, like maybe like a mobile app or something like that, but still, that I went ahead and put the hearts right there and then painting up for Jaycee Dugard right here. But I was just thinking as to where that, yeah, whenever you do read the book, a lot of times that you're thinking as to where that, yeah, that it's been a while since I've actually read the book, but still, that whenever you do read it, and you're thinking as to where that, hey, that so what exactly is it that comes to your mind whenever she does talk about a couple of things and looking young and knowing that whenever she's shopping around and maybe going on trips and maybe things about places where she wants to visit and all that, and so you're thinking as toward, okay, yeah, my first time. And so everybody might say that, yeah, your first time reading the book, maybe your first time going shopping, maybe your first time, going to this, going to see this movie or something like that. But still, that the way I think about it too is to where talk about looking younger right here. If there's really any source of clear answer toward it, looking young, and people might even say that, whenever you do look young, by the way, it sure seems that way, that, people may say that, yeah, well, if you would like to look younger than your age, for sure, do you think that maybe that they would say that you go ahead and put a little bit of makeup on, or like everybody might say that, yeah, if you want to just dress nice and maybe look casual or something like that, maybe if you were going to a dance party or somewhere like that, but still, that talking about understanding about looking young right here. And so a lot of times it seems like that, really, that what all do you think that you really need to do whenever it comes to looking young? And a lot of people might even think that one way to make yourself look young is to where that, yeah, that if you were to actually think about that, is to where that you have maybe if you have maybe one of your favorite outfits on, or maybe a special earring or something like that, or maybe if you are traveling, and they say that, the things that you buy, especially the things that you buy at the mall, more likely are going to make you feel special and thinking as to where to, yeah, I think I can look younger if I buy myself, if I have some a new new clothes, or maybe if it's anything in particular, or like you said, just like natural, but still. But talking about looking young, if there's really any sort of clear answer toward it, you look young, and then your actual age, but still that people might even say that to where that really that whenever you do think about that in a lot of ways, and people may say that, yeah, you look about maybe 5 years younger than what your actual age is, and people may want to know too that that really what really do you really need to do just to be able to present yourself as as young, and people may say that it's a lot of makeup, or like you say that if you keep yourself take good care of yourself by keeping yourself clean and eating very healthy and all that, but still that one thing that you could think about that is, I guess, it's also about that imagining, visualizing what you look like if you're going to be going to an interview. If you actually were to imagine, visualize yourself doing something. And people might say that, yeah, visualize yourself doing something. And they might think this too, okay, visualize yourself doing something. What good is that going to do whenever you do visualize yourself doing something? Well, I'm actually talking about that whenever you visualize yourself doing something, I'm talking about it to where that you pretend that you're actually going to visit a friend, or you pretend that you're going to this appointment, that you pretend that you're going shopping, you imagine that you're going somewhere and talking to somebody about something and doing something. And a lot of times it's like, yeah, whenever you visualize something, what does that really tell you in general? And they say that, well, that means that you can actually picture yourself doing something and kind of get the idea of what it means. What exactly is it that you're doing? What does all this mean right here? You got the foundation right here, but people might say that, yeah, whenever you look at that, for whatever reason, sort of kind of reminds me a little bit of, strawberry shortcake, or like you say, Barbie or something like that, Barbie Land or something like that. But still, that you got right here, talk about for Jaycee Dugard right here, and then you got right here is talking about talk about the sweetheart right here. But I was just thinking as to where that the things about consider being young right here, and so in case if anybody's wondering that yeah, if you want to look young, and let's just say maybe if it's the reunion, maybe prom night or for a birthday or something like that. That you want to visualize yourself maybe at a party or some sort of event, and you can maybe get the title to where yeah, my first time. It's been a while, since my last party that I went to, or the last time I was visiting, and so that's why it seems that way to where that whenever you do think about a story of talking about the Jaycee Dugard, and she's like, say, yeah, so what all do you think that you really need to do just to be able to stay young, just to look younger, and people might even say too that, well, for sure that one thing that you can maybe think about is like to think about, you know, uh, story time. I guess in case if anybody's wondering that, you want to think about a point in time to where that was your most favorite, and that the time you're with your family and friends, and it's like, say, yeah, my first time of actually going to a party, my first time of going for a ride, my first time flying, my first time. It could be the second time or even the third time, but what was one of your favorite times? And so, like, everybody might say that, yeah, that you may get that quite a bit, to where some people may think that you look a little bit younger than your age, you may look a little bit older than your age, but still, but I was just thinking as to where that, yeah, that how many people really want to think about that, if you're going to be, reading a book and just actually thinking about what exactly is it that you're thinking about in general. And it's like, yeah, your first time right here, and you're thinking as to where that, yeah, well, you know, uh, places where you go that you may think is as to where that, yeah, is it nice to be able to see this place? And you just whenever you do go places, a lot of times it sure seems that way. The first thing that you do think about whenever you go to these places is that yeah, what can you really explore about going to these places? Going to the restaurants, and maybe going to the coffee shops, and maybe going to the bookstores, and maybe walking around town or somewhere like that. And so that's why it seems that way, to where that when we talk about young, young sweetheart right here. And so every time I think about that, I'm like 102 that yeah, the last, I think it's since the last time I read the book, that's whenever I was a college student. But everybody say that even if you're a business person or something like that you think about is that your first time, your first time, and think as toward it. Yeah, you could have been listening to the radio, and maybe if it was maybe a gift of some kind, maybe winning a ticket or something like that. Winning a trip to go somewhere or something like that. But anyway, but well, yeah, I think about reading the book right here in the 102, that the things that you can do to be able to stay young, and like everybody say, yeah, just to pick your favorite, talking about storytelling, and also adventurous. What your favorite part about the whole exploration was. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone.